Oh man, Cyberpunk 2077 today is better than it's ever been in VR. Luke Ross has released his latest mod, and man, it is doing some crazy stuff. I'm running a Quest 3, and I am able to use virtual desktop with the Quest 3, and I have got my settings maxed out on that thing. It is epic. Now, granted, I'm running the standard configuration that it will deploy for the graphics settings in-game, but I have stepped on the resolution to like 3900 by 3900. It is crystal sharp. The game looks stunning. It's playing so good. If you've played that mod previously and you weren't happy, you've got a Quest 3 and you've got a beefy PC, because I am running a 4090, I've got 64 gig of RAM, I've recently just upgraded to a 7800 X3D CPU. It's able to handle it, but with virtual desktop and the new Luke Ross mod, it is absolutely wild. I'm going to go through some of the apps that I'm running. Because I've got the motion ring here, we're doing some cool stuff with audio, so we've got the butt kickers rumbling. But also recently SimHub have released some new features for their motion, which is absolutely wild. We always used to have to use SRS Studio for the telemetry input to joystick movement. Now what I'm doing, because I'm riding motorbikes in Cyberpunk as well as driving cars, I've actually got a motorbike sort of, modded steering wheel setup where that movement is correlating to axis in the rig. Now the cool thing with the new SimHub software is that it is able to do, get ready for it, audio to motion. I know, right? Basically what it's doing, it's grabbing the in-game audio and it's giving you little elements of heave and rumble, and it's almost like the whole Simrig is just one big haptic module, but it's working incredibly well. Couple that with my steering to axis input, man, I've got the motion rig going left and right. I'm coming around corners and I feel like I want to put my knee down as I'm sliding around these corners on the bike. It is absolutely wild. Anyway, let's get into the rig. I'm going to show you how it's all done. I'll share all of my settings with you, and this is absolutely epic. Let's get into Cyberpunk 2077 in VR on the motorbike. All right, little toggle switch just here, and I can activate that. Instantly SimHub kicks in, and oh my God. I feel like the rig is rumbling to the sound that I'm hearing in-game. It feels like I'm sitting on like just some monster V-twin. All right, let's go. Oh, the city looks so good. All right, take this. Yeah, we'll take this ramp here. Man, it's so... look out. Cut through traffic. Just tucked down behind the visor. It's so good. Oh, it is so good. The precision with these handlebars too, just to be able to weave through traffic. Oh, this intersection's busy. We're good. Yeah, this mod is just running so good now. Frames are excellent. Oh, it's just amazing. And one of the things you really need to be able to make this mod run well is a high refresh rate and a high resolution, and those two don't normally go well together. But with what Luke Ross has managed to do in this mod using the Oculus runtime, far out, man, it is just epic. Oh, I feel like I could just lean off the bike there. Oh, I feel like I need knee sliders. This is just so good. So good. Oh, look out. Oh, man, we are carbon. Just blasting through the streets, man. Absolutely wild. I love it. What are we sitting on? 165? Easy. Slicing traffic, man. I love these sweepers. We'll go wide. Just the best, man. Playing so good. Oh, absolutely awesome. Woo-hoo-hoo. Wow, it's starting to come on daytime. The lighting in this game is just magical. Absolutely epic, man. The best thing is too, I'm running a Razer Tartarus keyboard, so I can easily switch to first person, get out on foot. So we'll find a spot up here to pull up actually, and I'll jump out, go to first person, give you a look at the motorbike. It is just epic playing this game in full VR. Wow, wow, wow. All right, so we can pretty much, keyboard's already down. I normally run that off to the side, but now what we can actually do is just get our bearings there, hit that switch. That just immediately kills all the vibration and the motion in the rig, but we've still got the butt kickers going. And then keyboard and mouse is right here. We can just dismount. I pulled the gun out, of course. Just get the gun away. There we go. And there is the bike. It is an absolute beast, this thing. Man, it is just such a weapon. I absolutely love riding it. Oh man, it is so good. But we can pretty much cruise off on foot now, and in the comfort of the rig, we can sprint, look around the world, interact with stuff. It just plays so good. Okay, so let's run through some of the settings here. If we jump into settings and we jump up to video, you'll have to mind the mouse movement all over the place. The steering wheel setup I have does that. But if we jump into video, you can see I'm running 3920 by 3920. Everything else is pretty much what the Luke Ross mod tweaks to disable. So I haven't touched any of that stuff. Game looks glorious. But as I say, I'm running 3920 by 3920. And if we jump into the actual settings that I've got for the Luke Ross mod, if we go back, I find that the emphasis and the deblur just here, I find around 500 for me works good. The render mode, I'm running the highest, which is the 1/2. You can play around with these. Mono will just make it look pancake. You can get used to it. So if you've got a pretty slow system that can't handle it, mono might be the tick for you. Legacy AER, yeah, you still get real blurring around certain images. 1/3 rate is trying to be a bit better, but then 1/2 is really where it's at. I'm running 90 frames, and I'm pretty much Steam super sampling at 100, and it is just absolutely glorious. I'm running this particular headset at 90 frames, and my in-game frames I'm sitting at about 72. Anything over sort of 50 and you're having a good time, anything over sort of 70 and mate, you are golden. So you can see there what my render resolution ends out at. Yeah, the sweet spot is really around the 20 to 22 pixels per degree. and you're going to have a good time. So that's the settings in-game and through the Luke Ross VR mod.
Now, we have a fair bit going on to make all the magic happen. So first and foremost, with my steering wheel base, I want my lock to be at 90 degrees, similar to what a motorbike is like. I've had a few people say, shouldn't I mount the wheelbase upright so that it steers more like a motorbike? You really don't notice that much in game, trust me. I've been riding real motorbikes for years and this works absolutely perfectly. So if you can, you want to set your base to a 90-degree lock, and that's a hard lock. As you can see there, I've got that set at 90 degrees. And I've also turned up the mechanical inertia, I've turned up the mechanical friction, everything I can to give that quite a viscous feeling, which really helps so that you're not just thrashing the steering wheel around and you actually feel like there's friction and centrifugal force through that steering wheel base while you're riding. So that's really the first critical bit to making the steering wheel happen. Now we've got a few bits of software here, so I'll start with Voicemeeter Potato. And Voicemeeter Potato that you can see here, this is what allows you to have dual audio inputs going to your butt kickers and your headphones. And this is really important because there's actually no native telemetry coming out of the game for you to feed butt kickers. So you will need to pick up an audio source. In this case, I'm picking up my motherboard's output for audio, and that's going to the butt kickers. And then my second output can be anything you want. In this case, it could be my headphones, it could be the Pimax headset that I've also got, and you choose what you want to output to. So you've got audio going to your ears, and then you have audio going to the butt kickers for vibration. Once you've made all that happen, you're then going to want to change your audio source on the computer to be the voice meter AUX input. Confusing, I know. You'd think that would be the output source, but that's the way it works. There's really good tutorials online on how to set up Voicemeeter Potato. If people get really stuck and they desperately want to know, I'll do a video on the actual setup. But that's it in essence. You need to pick your outputs as A1, A2. If you've got more outputs, you can choose those as well. But in essence, butt kickers for one of them and headphones or speakers for the other. Might be your VR headset. And then you want your AUX output to be the output source for the computer. Right, that's the Voicemeeter Potato done, and we will do the joystick mappings last. So we'll switch to SimHub. If you have a motion platform, this is a no-brainer. This is the audio to haptics area, and if you don't already have the motion option for SimHub, honestly, pay the money, get it. It is just wicked if you've got a motion rig. It'll add this motion option to your software. You click there, and then you can basically start tuning to your heart's content. But all we really need is audio to haptics turned on. For the Cyberpunk game, I'm running 60%. And then if we go to the axis mappings, this is where we can actually tune how we want that to correlate. So let me actually turn the motion on and I'll show you what I mean. So if we actually turn that on and then enable telemetry, we should actually get the rig to stand up in a second. There we go. So the rig's now livening up. And you can actually see for roll, for instance, or have I got that turned off? Let's just hit my toggle switch. No, we need to enable telemetry. Okay, there we go. All right, so we can actually see that I have that tuned for roll left and right, and you can smooth it out. You want to play around with that so it's not too aggressive. That way, if I make a quick left and right, it just smooths it out a bit, softens the edges off. It's not too aggressive. And for roll, I don't want it to really roll right over because you can crank it right up. At the moment, that's full roll. But if I crank that all the way, now watch what happens. Whoa, we are like, yeah, she's getting violent. So I find running that at about 6 is, yeah, that's a nice smooth spot to be sitting. Right, now let's have a look at pitch. And pretty much what we want there is when we brake, we want the rig to go forward to give us that sensation of braking. And when we accelerate, we want the rig to go back. And so there we go. We've got roll, we've got braking, we've got accelerating, and it is just bonkers. You couple that with the audio to haptics, and it is just, or audio to motion, is just insane. The whole rig is actually, heave is shuddering and vibrating, and it's correlating directly one-to-one to the game audio, so it's just wild. Right, so we'll stop that telemetry, and now if we have a look at the last bit of the puzzle, I am using the X360 controller emulator. What this is allowing us to do, in essence, is have the steering input correlate to a gamepad in-game, and same with my axis for the pedals. So you can map all this real easily. And if we have a look here, you can see I've selected my V&M pedals. That's what I'm running. They're V&Ms. And if you have a look at the trigger, the right-hand trigger there, you can see how the right-hand trigger now correlates to my foot throttle input. And then my brake, so the left-hand trigger, is correlating to axis for that there. And that in turn is mapped into the game, and you're correlating axis movement to motion, plus you've got these joystick controls in your X360 controller to game, and it just works so good. You've got to tweak the dead zones a little bit, but I think that's really a personal preference. But I've got mine almost 1-for-1 with just a little dead zone in the middle in game, and it works perfectly. And if you have a look there, look at the left thumbstick just there. The left thumbstick is now your left and right. So it really is that simple. You're in game, you're good to go. And then I've got this amazing Tartarus Razer keyboard right here, and I can just drop that down. If I want it out of the way, I can actually just put that up the back there, but then I can bring that forward. My hand goes right there, hands on the mouse, that doesn't go anywhere. And muscle memory, I know where those are at all times, and I can be on foot playing in first person, and then I can just go straight to motorbike steering wheel, and it is amazing.
Don't forget, like and subscribe, share these videos with all your crazy friends. It really does help me out. That game is just mind-blowing. I'll see you in the next video.